Hello everyone, this is Weather coming at you with another update. In this video, we're going to be talking about an April Arctic blast that's going to bring snow for the central US along with freezing temperatures and frost all the way down into Texas. So if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all my daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it. This is the big picture and how this system is going to play out over the next week. And what we're looking at here is the 500 millibar pattern, the latest GFS model. We've got blocking going on. This is why it's going to be getting colder for much of the central US, especially as we get into next week. We've got this ridge building up in Alaska. That's going to bring some well above average temperatures up in Alaska and along the western coastline. Then we also have a Greenland block over here, which is what's considered a west-based NAO. That allows that blocking feature, that funnel effect, to allow that colder air to pour down from the Arctic and enter the US. And that actually reaches all the way down to the coastline with those cooler than average temperatures. So as we expand the view and kind of give you the big picture of how this is really happening, you can definitely see, even on a global basis, much of the US or the central US into the eastern two-thirds of the US will be predominantly below average temperatures between the 20th and the 24th, while much of Alaska along the west coast is going to be well above average with those 15 to 20 degrees above average temperatures with that blocking happening. And even if we extend the view, that really doesn't go anywhere. It modifies a little bit as we go into the 25th, even into the 29th timeframe towards the end of the month. You can definitely see down here in the south, it's not as cold as it was previously. A lot of that colder air retreats into much of the Ohio Valley, getting into the Northeast, but it stays predominantly below average for the second half of April, while much of the West stays above average temperatures. So let me kind of walk you through and how all this is going to play out. Here's your last snowfall over the last 72 hours of that first initial step down process cold front that we've been kind of talking about. That brought some snow into Montana, into the Dakotas. That brought heavier snows into Wyoming, into Colorado. I think last check, Denver had 5.7 inches of snow on the ground, and it's still snowing there. And the snow just started in the Northeast. And in fact, they've had several thunder snow reports up there. And that snow actually did make it all the way down into Boston. And in fact, they had their first flake in Boston, their first snow back in October the 30th. And then going all the way back to today, April 16th. So that's a long duration, long season from first flake to last flake. And it's still snowing. That snowstorm is just kind of getting going up in that area. But here's your precipitation for the last 72 hours. You can see right along where that flooding rain has been taking effect here into Louisiana. They had a nasty squall line supercell that came through Texas yesterday that brought the golf ball size hail to baseball size hail, anywhere from Burnett all the way down into portions of Leander into Round Rock. You get it into Elgin. That hail extended even in down to Tomball. Even in portions of Houston saw some larger hailstones yesterday. And that heavier rains extended up the coast the last 3 days into the mid-Atlantic states. So here's the latest surface map as we go into, this is April the 16th today, later on this afternoon. That snow, I mean, that low pressure, I mean, this is pretty impressive for the middle of April. I mean, 988 low pressure hanging off the coast here. That's a bona fide nor'easter, and that's dumping some very heavy snow in the higher elevations of the Northeast. That snow is still flying into Colorado, getting into Nebraska, as well as Kansas. The rain is over with in Dallas, and that is extending into East Texas now. And that flooding just continues along the deep south into Louisiana and much of the coastline here, getting into the Florida Panhandle. as we go into the day on Saturday, there's that first initial blast of colder temperatures. You look at the anomalies here with this colder blast. I mean, it's like 57 degrees right now in Dallas. That's 20 degrees below average, where they're going to be experiencing almost record temperatures tomorrow, getting into Oregon and getting into California with those 15 to 20 degrees above average temperatures. So yeah, much of the colder air is going to be locked in place into the central U.S., and then kind of fading out as it extends into the southeast, but definitely cooler air, and you're going to definitely feel the chill in the air for the middle of April. As we go into the day on Saturday, there's that first initial cold front that's going to be stalling out along the coastline here, getting into the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of those heavier rains will be pushed all the way down to the deep south into Brownsville, going into New Orleans, going into the Florida Panhandle, as that low will finally move off the coast and just keep extending off into the northeast as the overall setup kind of resets for our initial Arctic blast that's going to be already showing its head by the time we get into Sunday. Look at that, 1032 Arctic high pressure, 1042 Arctic high pressure. The blocking is going to be in place. That's going to allow the colder air to pull down from Canada and enter the United States. As we go into Sunday, there's that snow. It's going to bring some snow along the way, as well as that first initial cold front will be stalling out of the Gulf and just kind of a training effect over a period of time into Florida Panhandle, getting into Central Florida. So they're going to be adding up to some very heavy totals as we go throughout the week in that area. So definitely be looking for flooding potentially as we go into, especially as we get deeper into the week, because these rains aren't really going to go anywhere for the next several days. There's your temperatures by Sunday. You can definitely see it in the anomalies feature. Those warmer temperatures hang on for much of the west. There's that first initial cold front that extends all the way down into Mexico by your afternoon temperatures on Sunday. It modifies as it pushes east. But look at their next Arctic front. Then this one's actually going to be bringing even colder temperatures than what this initial front has, especially for getting out into the third week of April. So this can be definitely some colder stuff for this time of year, as that colder air will start to creep down and getting pulled further south as the week progresses. And it's going to bring some snow along with it. So right along that cold front, where we're going to have those overrunning conditions, that's going to bring the snow into portions of Montana, getting into South Dakota again. All these areas will definitely they're under an extreme drought, exceptional drought. So all this is just welcome precipitation in this neck of the woods, as yes, that cold front just continues to hang out in the Gulf and just kind of stall over Florida, dumping those heavier rains as we go into Monday. Here's what the actual low temperatures would look like as that colder air continues to shift a little bit further south. We're talking 20-degree low temperatures in Montana and much of the Dakotas, getting into Minnesota, as well as Wyoming, going into Colorado by then, 30s getting into Kansas and to Iowa, 30s getting into Missouri by the time Monday morning rolls around on the 19th, and widespread 40s for much of the southeast without a first initial cold front. So as we go into the day on Tuesday, this is where it actually kind of gets interesting, because as that colder air will continue to press further southward, I do feel like we'll have more snow in places like Denver. But now we're talking the snow will push down a little bit further south into Kansas, into Nebraska, especially into the extreme portions of the Oklahoma Panhandle. I still feel like the Texas Panhandle will get snow out of this cold front. But the snow will extend in the northwestern portions of Missouri, get into Iowa, get into places in like Chicago, upper portions of Michigan again, as that cold front continues to press further southward, along with the colder temperatures. So by the time you wake up on the 20th by the time, next Tuesday, those colder temperatures, look at that, 30 degrees in the Texas Panhandle and Amarillo. Where you see all the blue shaded areas, that's going to be your colder freezing temperatures And then look at the colder temperatures continue to press into much of Missouri, much of Illinois, getting into Indiana and Ohio as that cold front continues to press further south. And along with the snow will too. So as that cold will go, the snow will follow, and much of extending into portions of northwestern Missouri, even portions of central Missouri could pick up some snow this late in the season along that banding now into Illinois, going into Michigan here. And this will continue to press further southward. And then especially as we get into the day on Tuesday, going into Wednesday morning here, that cold front will extend and dump some heavier snows into Indiana, getting into portions of Ohio now, especially like Cleveland, Ohio. We'll start seeing some snow out of this system as that colder air continues to press. I mean, 1029 Arctic high pressure over Oklahoma. The third week of April is a pretty cold shot for April, and you can definitely see the temperatures by then as that colder air. All these in blue will be freezing. Much of Missouri will be below freezing. Even northern portions of Oklahoma will be freezing as well. Even when we get down into Texas, I mean, you can see some of the bigger cities showing up at 37, 38, 34. Now, if you live in the outskirts, away from the bigger cities, away from the heat island, much of these areas will be experiencing a frost, if not a freeze in some of these areas, even into Texas. So you're going to be definitely having to cover your plants coming up on Wednesday, the 21st, because that's going to be some colder temperatures. It's going to do some damaging to your plants all the way down to the deep south, and even to get into Arkansas, getting into Illinois, much of Indiana, getting into Ohio. Anything below 36 degrees is considered a frost. So you're going to have to be covering those tender vegetation, as it's going to be cold enough to do damage to your plants. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm giving you definitely a lot of advanced warning. Today's only Friday, so we're talking Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all the way into Wednesday. So 5 days from now, we're talking a freeze potentially all the way down into Missouri and portions of Oklahoma here. But as we go into the day on Thursday morning, that low will continue to shift off into the northeast. We'll just have to see how much colder air is left and how much is this is actually going to be able to change over to more snow for you guys, probably again in the upper elevations in the northeast. But you're not going to be done even after this particular event that's coming up later on this afternoon with the snow. You could be getting more snow by the time next Thursday rolls around, and a lot of the same areas it's going to be getting snow with this system that's currently happening right now. And there's your temperatures by Thursday, and you can definitely see where that freezing line tries to moderate a little bit further down to the south, but those colder temperatures will be locked in place for the upper portions of the central U.S., getting into the Ohio Valley, as we even go into the Northeast again. Places like Pittsburgh again could see another freeze by the time we get into next Thursday. So some definitely colder temperatures on the way with this Arctic blast that's going to be on the table over the next week. And here's your snow. I mean, look at this. This is an April snow for the next 6 days, and this is a lot of snow that's going to be coming up. There's that snow initially right now in the Northeast, but right along that cold front, there's going to be dumping some heavier snows into the Northwest regions, getting all the way down into Colorado. I think it snows again to the Texas Panhandle. I think it snows again in the Oklahoma Panhandle. This snow will extend in the northwestern portions of Missouri, getting into Illinois, northern Indiana, northern Ohio again, and this will continue to lift further north, especially as we get into Michigan. There's your rainfall over the next, I even extended this down to 9 days until the 25th. It's still high and dry out west. Even for the next 9 days, it's going to be little to no moisture or precipitation for much of the west coast here. Where these systems come across, And where that cold front, pretty much stalls out over the Gulf of Mexico, is going to be dumping some heavier rains here, especially like in Central Florida. I mean, almost up to 7 inches of rain just over the next, 6 to 9 days in that neck of the woods. So flooding rains is going to be on the table for much of Central Florida coming up. But you can definitely see where the precipitation, a lot of these reds and yellows of 2 to 4 inches. So man, there's a lot of colder air on the way, especially for April. So get ready, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.